So consider this. The important thing we need to consider here is we have to expand this. Then after expanding that, the next thing to do is multiply both expression there. So by using the binomial expansion of a, let's bracket a plus x all raised to power n, we have where a equals 1. So here our a, okay, our a is 1. Our a, obviously, we already know what a is. A is the first term, so a is equal to 1. So wherever we have our a, we replace it with 1, right? So by replacing it with 1, we can then have this expression. Okay, so we can then have a general term expression, general binomial term expression, where our first term is 1. So that leads us to this. So wherever we have our a in the earlier expression, we replace it with 1. And so that will be done here, and that leads us to this expression. So this expression is helpful. We can use this expression in finding the binomial expansion of this expression there. So that's what we've done there. Obviously, in the question, we do not want to go far, so we just wrote down the first 3 terms. So the first 3 terms is this. This is the first term, this is the second term, and this is the third term. Don't be confused. This is the first term, this is the second term, and this is the third term. Okay, so by so doing, we just have to substitute. Wherever we have our n, obviously in the question here, we have our n to be 10. So we replace our n with 10. And our x value here is x divided by 2. And so that will be done there. And done the same to this one too. So we just have to what? Substitute the various values that we have. So we do that. So we know that 10 is divided by 2, that gives us 5x. Okay, so 2 goes into 2 and 5. And then we also know 2 factorial is 2, because that's 2 times 1, which is 2. And we know 2 goes into 10, that makes it 5. And so 5 times 9, that gives us 45. And all divided by 4, and that's what we have there. So the next thing for us to do is to multiply them. So according to the question, we're given this. So we multiply this to that. So by multiplying that, obviously we know that this expression here, its expansion is this. And so what we have there, the next thing we do is to multiply them. So 1 multiplies all these expressions. We have the same expression because 1 is positive. And obviously 1 multiplies to any expression or variable or number are the same. They are the same. So we have this expression there. And then the next thing we have is minus 2x. So minus 2x multiplies everything there. So minus 2x multiplied to 1 gives us minus 2x. Be very careful with the minus sign. Minus sign are very dangerous. Always, when you ever come across a minus or negate a negative sign there, be very careful of that. So minus 2x. So minus there, obviously, in this particular expression, we have all the operation there to be positive. So we then it tells us that all the operation there. So minus comes in there and changes all the operation to negative. So we don't want to go that far. So we multiply the minus 2x to 1 and minus 2x to 5x, and that gives us this. Because our interest is to write down the first 3 terms, okay, according to what the question said. And so this is in the what? The third term. And so we don't want to go far. So we end here. So by so doing, we group items, and group the items, okay. We have 1 plus into bracket, so 5x. We have 5x here and then minus 2x here. We bring them together, so that leads us to 3x. And then we do the same for that one also. For 45 divided by 4, or multiply to x raised to the power 2, and that is down to this one too. So as we see on your screen there, and that leads to this answer. So 1 plus 3x, okay, so 5x minus 2x is 3x. And this expression gives us 5 divided by 4 raised to the power, sorry, multiplied to x raised to the power 2. Okay, we don't want to continue with the next terms because the question says we are to write down the first 3 terms of the expansion. So we've done that, and voila, there it is. Move on to example 4.